Hello, this is Tom Britt. West Tennessee PBS is working hard to bring you more local shows and quality PBS programs. And they need your financial help because they don't run commercials, they rely on your support. It's easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donations to Channel 11 stay local and help WLJT-TV continue their mission to be as local as possible.
It's a place where people of all ages find hope, support, and a path to their God-given potential. Hello, I'm Peter Knoll. On this edition of Tennessee is Talking, we're talking with the co-founder of the Sheltering Tree Ranch. Their mission is to partner with families in providing Christ-centered education, character development, and personal growth for both children and adults with learning challenges. So let the conversation begin.
We are rolling. Confirm record. Can we get a mic check? Check, check. Stand by camera 2. Take 2. Stand by announcer in 3, 2.
West Tennessee PBS presents Tennessee is Talking. Let the conversation begin.
Thanks for joining the discussion here on Tennessee is Talking. I am Peter Knoll. Education isn't one size fits all, especially for those with learning challenges. Since 2007, the Sheltering Tree Ranch in Savannah has been providing instruction, spiritual growth, and community support to help children and adults thrive. And joining us today is the co-founder of the Sheltering Tree Ranch, Dave Burrows. Thank you for being here.
What a pleasure and honor.
Welcome to Channel 11.
Be with you.
Let's start out with just an overview of what the Sheltering Tree Ranch is all about.
Well, as you said earlier, it's a place of hope for all families, really, that have children and adults with special needs. And we are a 501c3 public nonprofit, so everybody owns us, and they can help support and give, know that they are pouring into themselves. They are also their families, and then but we are board driven and board run, and we have educational and horse therapy. We have a special needs general store there that we have our 21 and older kids in and adults in, and so there's just a lot of things that we do at the ranch to help folks with special needs kids.
And where in Savannah are you located?
We're at Highway 226, 3100, and right across the road from the Hardin County Savannah Airport. And so if you can make it to the airport in Savannah, then you can see Sheltering Tree Ranch right across the road.
How did it all start?
Well, it's a miracle number one, okay? And with really just a family in need of help and support. And Bobby Ann and I, back in 2000.
And that's your wife?
That's my wife, Bobby Ann, and we have a son that's 30 now, and his name's Jordan, and he was diagnosed with autism, and at the time, 1 in 500 kids was diagnosed with autism, and through the years today, it's 1 in 32, so that's how much it's increased. But during that time, not known of a lot, and we were confronted with the fact that our son was diagnosed with autism, and we made a 5-hour trip back from Knoxville one day where he got diagnosed there after the doctor had shared with us that our son would never really do a lot and he wouldn't accomplish anything in his life. And so we just figured out that day that that would be determined to the Lord, right? And that whatever Jordan's life could be, then that's what he and me and his mom would allow that to be. That we'd work as hard as we possibly could each and every day.
How old was Jordan when he was diagnosed?
Jordan was 5 when he was diagnosed with autism, and which really is late on today's standards, but at the time, back in 2000, that was probably at the right age. But he was 5. And
I bet you and your wife were like wanting an answer.
We needed an answer, wanted an answer. He wasn't meeting major milestones in his life, those type of things. And we were actually going to Jackson get therapy at different places here, Star Center, Kiwanis, doing those things here and just trying to get all the resource help we could for him. But at that time, we just wanted George's life to be the very best that it could be. And so we didn't know really what that would entail. But over the years, it involved Bobby Ann learning about ABA. So it's applied behavior analysis is what it is. And so at the time, it wasn't used a lot, just making its way to Tennessee basically. But we were trying to get Jordan the most help we could get with the ABA. And then we also had heard that the hippotherapy, the horse therapy, was working with kids with autism and helping in therapeutic learning and occupational speech and physical therapy. And then also 8 of 10 marriages at the time were divorcing with special needs kids. And so we were having all of these challenges and issues around us each and every day. And so as just a dad, a husband, a pastor, different things that were involved in my life, I began to ask the question, so what can we do to help other people? What can we do to make Jordan's life better? And so one day the Lord's, well, you're going to have a place called Shelton Tree Ranch and you're going to build a ranch. And I was like, okay, Lord, with what? And by faith. And so anyway, started talking to Bobby Ann that day about that conversation we had with the Lord. And since then, that was actually 2012 when that happened. And we started this 501c3 public nonprofit called Shelter Tree Ranch. And we are board driven, as I told you before. We found a piece of property there in Savannah that was 50 acres that was going to be a place called Airport Meadows, and it did develop. And we were able to purchase that 50 acres, and we were able to get all of our paperwork signed and turned in for all of our tax exemption forms and all those things over a period of a year and a half or so. We got that finished up, and we moved out to the ranch. And so at the ranch,
you like sold your house and you guys moved out
we
there?
literally sold our home, everything that we had for the most part, and moved across town to Shelter and Tree Ranch. We did, and we live there today. We're the only home there today, the director's home, but we're there today, just overseeing the vision and the mission of the ranch. So we move out, and we thought that the school building would be first, but it actually wasn't. We had a guy that was a local guy that believed in what we were doing. Called me one morning, said, Dave, you want to go down and take a look at something with me? And I said, I sure do. And so we rode down to an area on the river, and they had this Morton horse barn there, probably a $60,000 barn. And he said, Dave, would you look at the barn? And would that barn work at Shelter Tree Ranch? And I said, oh my goodness, it's phenomenal. And he said, well, the Lord told me to give it to you this morning. And so if you've got a place there, we're going to bring it, take it down piece by piece, metal, wood, the whole deal, take it down, and we're going to bring it out to you. And so can you have a spot ready in 2 weeks? And I'm like, well, we'll try. And so anyway, so our barn was donated to us first. We had a couple of gifts from some donors there in Hardin County that just out of 2 donors raised $22,500. For the barn project, was able to get all that going. That was the beginning of 15, and then we were able to find our first school building. It was in Chattanooga at the time, and we had to have a green label school building for the state of Tennessee for school. And so back years ago, Miss Tennessee was deaf, and she performed, and she got Miss Tennessee as a deaf person. She lived in Chattanooga, and she had started a nonprofit there for special needs kids, basically the deaf kids and the blind, and they had outgrown the building, and we were able to find it, purchase that building with a gift and a grant from the Darrell Worley Foundation, actually, had give us a $10,000 educational gift. We purchased that building, moved it to Savannah, to the ranch. That August, we started our first school that August with 15 students, and I think we had probably 5 teachers at the time. So that was in August of 15, and then we were able to find another school building within the next year. And with autism, as I shared with you before, the numbers from 1 in 500 when Jordan was diagnosed to where today it's 1 in 32 the numbers are growing, and so we had a waiting list at the time. We found another building in Dixon, Tennessee, and when looked at, it's green label also. The lady there, Lori Seacrest, I'll never forget Miss Lori and Ryan there. She showed the building to us and said, "Would this building work for you?" And we're like, "Yeah, it really would." And she said, "Well, let me pray about what we want to do." And she called me back in a week and she said, "Dave, I was Easter seals baby, and I never repaid my debt back to the people who gave the Easter seals, and I want to do it now." And she said, "We're going to donate this building to you." And so we had some guys at AG Trucking go to Dixon and pick up those buildings and bring them back and set that building up. We had Lowe's Pros and Williamson. We had all the local contractors there help us with that building. It's a pretty large building. Allowed us to go up from 15 students up to about 30 or so at the time. And then we were able to find another green label building from the county that we purchased from those guys, and we moved over to the ranch. And then we went from basically 30 or so students to where we are today. We've got 3 buildings there for school. We've got nearly 40 students that are in them, and we have 71 families that's on our waiting list today.
Wow.
And so we're in desperate need for another building today, and found another building in Lebanon, and but it hasn't been donated to us, so we need to raise the funds for that building. But that's how the school got started. That's all the buildings we've got there, and then we had local folks that helped us with our 21 and older program that we have, which is our ranch hand program. We will have 30 full-time residents that live on the property one day, like my son that's 30 now. There's kids that are getting older every day, and so parents like Bobby Ann and I, we wonder a lot, so will we outlive our children? And so many people are thinking that right now. They're in their 70s or 80s, and their autistic kids are now 50s and 60s, and what am I going to do with them? And they don't want to put them in a facility necessarily. Mm-hmm. And so at the ranch, we'll have 5 residential homes there. We'll have 30 full-time residents. There's a piece of property there that we don't own that we made an offer on back a few weeks ago, and we're hoping and praying that God will open up the door for that property to come available so we can purchase it. And so we're waiting on. Then we also do respite care for families.
Tell us about that, because you always hear that there's a need for that.
There's such a need, and 8 out of 10 families today that divorce and special needs kids. And so with Bobby Ann, we understand the pressures that are in a marriage with children with special needs, and most of the time the family just doesn't make it. So with our biblical counseling that we do there, we will have 5 24 by 24 A-frame cabins that sit over a really beautiful creek area there at the ranch. And we've got the foundation dug on one of them right now, waiting on the block layers to get there the first of the week. We raised $21,000 on the cabin project that we have waiting for that project to go up. We've got some people who are going to lay the block. We've got folks that are going to frame it. We've got folks that'll do the electrical. We've got people who will do the plumbing and all those things. We've just got to get the flooring put in first. And so, but that'll be for families to be able to use a night or 2 a week free of charge that need respite care. We'll take care of their kids for them. If they'll go through our biblical counseling, they can stay there at no charge. And then also, it'll be a place that if they're not being used, if somebody wanted to come to Hardin County and stay the night, which a lot of people do, then they can come there and they can rent those cabins over the creek, beautiful, and they can get to see the miracle that the Lord.
I want to go stay there.
It's awesome.
I do.
Place.
It sounds beautiful.
A-frame cabins, 24 by 24, and little awesome front back porches, and just the most wonderful place in Hardin County over Horse Creek. It's beautiful.
Now, Dave, before your son was diagnosed, did you work with horses? Do you have an experience on a ranch? Did you grow up on a farm?
Well,
or is this all new to you too?
So I did grow up with horses. My dad, horse was killed when I was 9, and so the horse business kind of left us at that time. But my wife, Bobby Ann, loved horses, and so Bobby Ann is dyslexic, and went through school. No one never knew it, but she and one of her teachers. And so she's dyslexic, and horse therapy really horses really was therapy for her in her life. And so that's where the horse came in. And so she loved horses. And when I met her when I was 19 and I was praying for a wife, then I met her and she said, "Do you like horses?" And I went, "I love horses. Can you ride horses?" I'm like, I'm a cowboy. What are you talking about?" So anyway, that's how I got back into the horse business. And so just simply because Bobby Ann loved it so much. But through the years, she gave lessons to a lot of folks. And then once we learned that horse therapy, the hippotherapy, was really working with individuals with autism and other needs, and men and women who've been in armed forces and who have some serious mental challenges, the horse therapy works for them also. And so we wanted to offer that at the ranch. And so we started with a borrowed horse and a borrowed barn. For the first year, we had 14 kids that started our horse program. And we did it at a person's home there in Savannah. And then the next year, we were able to move from there to a little bit larger location, then out to the ranch. And today we have 7 horses. We have probably 80 folks at least that use the horse program one way or another today. And so we have a 60 by 50 barn for the most part, a 200 by 120 arena. We've got round pens, and we've got area out there that we use for just equine sports, and the creek that we have there, you can ride on it. So we've got a wonderful facility to ride the horses in today.
One thing, I've read about, veterans who have PTSD
Yes, sir.
doing horse therapy.
Yes, sir.
I've heard they use it for people that are incarcerated.
Sure.
Horses have this special
They do.
power to connect with people
They do.
in need.
They do.
Do, like some dogs need to be trained to be service animals and work with people with special needs? Do horses go through that too, or not really?
Well, there's some special horses out there that really can sense kids and adults with trauma and issues, and so they sense it. They just feel it some way, shape, form, or fashion.
What do you think it
I don't
is
know how the
about
Lord
the
made them that
connection
way. I
with
don't know. I
horses?
really don't know. I just know that it's there and it works. And so with our kids that come, our horses and our ponies that we have there, they just stand there for them. And then when they're on them and riding them, the kids will stem and they'll flap and they'll do different things. And our horses that we have, they just are so calm and so peaceful, and just gives the adults and the kids a sensation that's different. And they learn trust, and they learn how to have feelings and emotions for things, and they show it on the horses. So it's a real big deal. We do the occupational, speech, and physical therapy, basically with the horses also. And so how do you do some of those things and teach the little kids, how to, if they want the horse to go, then you got to learn how to cluck. And so you use your tongue muscles for that. And
You were
then
good at
hand
that. I
or
can tell
eye.
you've done that
I've done it
before.
a time or two. And then so hand-eye coordination for children with autism or any type of basically special needs disability. So taking just a clothesline and put it in the mane of a horse and having a child sit up on the horse and reach up and grab the little clothespin and take it off is hand-eye coordination. And then to go another step and put a little bag on the horn of the saddle and take that little clip off and put it into the bag. And then they get real adventurous, and it's not from there to the bag. Then we set up a little bucket and they'll take the little clothespin off of the hair, and then they're walking with a horse and they reach over and they drop it in the bucket. And so that's how you do that. So you learn how to do speech, and you learn how to do occupational and physical therapy with the use of the horse, just in some little simple things like that.
Did your son, Jordan, does he get into horses, take after his
He
mom?
absolutely does not like horses at all.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
he is the music. He loves the music and loves the computers and loves those things. But there's so many other children that do, and my wife, that's her therapy. And so when she's had a really tough day, about an hour worth of just getting away from the school, getting on the horse, She just worked so hard, but after about an hour being on the horse, everything just kind of smooths out, and then it makes me a lot easier to live with at that moment. So anyway,
So, I mean, you told us all the miraculous steps and donations of
sure.
really building the Sheltering Tree Ranch bit by bit. Fast forward like your 10, 20 years, where do you envision it? What would be your dream?
Yeah. So the vision we have, and the Lord gave me the vision the day that we went on the property, and the vision for the school there will be 120 students in school there every day. We are a fully accredited ACSI school, K through 12. Now we have been for the last 7 years, and we are one in a few schools in the state that is certified. Also take the IEA vouchers that are available to kids with special needs. So all the criteria needed to grow is there. We are going to 120 kids. We've got a 11,000 square foot schematic design on a building that will be a permanent building. One of my mentors shared with me years ago from Jackson, Mr. Gary Taylor. Gary said, Dave, you got to build it slow, build it slow, build it slow, piece at a time. And so we've listened to him. And so we've done one building, two buildings, three buildings. We will have another fourth modular building that'll let us go from 40 kids up to about 58, 60, and then a fifth building that'll get us up to nearly 80 students. And then we'll build our permanent building there for school, which will be the 11,000 square foot building for 120 kids. There'll be 25 staff that will be there. That'll work in that particular permanent building that'll be there, and the modulars will move off at that time. And then the barn program that we have one part of that today. We have 7 horses, and the arena there's not covered. We want it to be covered so we can do the therapy year round. We can only do it for certain months right now. We'll add on another end to the barn just like the one that's there. Will let us go up another 7, 8 horses. So we'll get up to 15 or 16 horses that we can use there in the therapy and all that we do there. Our special needs ranch, our ranch hands that we have there. The general store is a little restaurant that we created back a couple years ago.
And that's open to the public.
It's open to the public.
What are the hours?
So Monday through Friday, you can go in the general store from 10 to 4. Then Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we feed lunch there from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Those days, wonderful food, wonderful. And our ranch hands there, they'll come up and they'll meet and greet you, and they'll wait on you and wait on your table. They learn how to face the aisles and the shelves, and they learn to sweep and mop and clean the windows and the doors. They learn all of those cleaning techniques and all. They learn how to wash and dry. And so ultimately, when the 30 full-time residents live there, they will be trained in the store. And then our 5 cabins that we have over in the creek, those 5 cabins every day will be cleaned and kept up by adults with special needs. And so they'll leave their little home that they'll stay at night with a nanny. They'll get up and get their clothes on in the morning. They'll go out of there. They'll go to the general store, get on a golf cart. They'll ride over to the cabins that's been used that night, and they'll walk in, and the same techniques they use in the general store on sweeping the floors and cleaning the windows and the coffee makers and getting the bedding off the sheets and the towels and all. They will take those out of the cabin. They'll go back to the general store. They'll wash and dry them, but they'll get the cabins ready each day. So that's going to be their job. We also have church there on Sundays, and so for families who have kids they're on the spectrum, they stem and they flap and they make different noises, which a lot of times in a lot of churches, that's not the best situation. So back in 2015, we started a church there at the ranch that's open there 10:30 every Sunday morning. And so we use that time for church and spiritual needs for our kids there.
You mentioned you're a minister. What were you doing before all this?
I actually work for a living still today. Okay.
What do you do
I'm a business, I do home care for a living.
Okay.
And so I had a business there and a partner there for 25 years in Savannah called Riverside Medical.
Okay.
And so 6 years ago, though, with a vision of the
So
ranch.
this is a side gig.
Sheltering
Tree Ranch, which is the side gig.
So I work 20 hours a week for the company now called Quipt Home Medical. They bought us out 6 years ago. I work and make my living off-site I don't take a dime out of the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gary Taylor told me years ago too, Dave, don't ever take a dime out of the ranch. You always work harder than anybody that's there, and you give back, and don't you ever take a dime out of it.
Do you find
And so,
time to sleep?
I do, and I sleep well. I don't stay up long once my head hits the pillow. So yeah, I don't have a problem going to sleep. But I make my living 20 hours a week for quit, and then the rest of the time I'm there at the ranch, and we're at the general store 3 days a week. Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays I run the cash register there. And then we're involved in all the growth. We're trying to, raise the funds now, another $130,000 for a school building.
So yeah, that was my next,
Yeah.
Before we leave, how, it sounds like community support has
Sure.
been instrumental from across the state.
It has.
And this streams across the country.
It
Anyone
has.
can watch, stream Tennessee
Sure.
is Talking. How can people watching this program help support, find out more? Where
Sure.
should they go?
So first of all, praying. We believe that prayer answers the Lord answers prayers. So prayer first, and then secondly is resources and funds. Right now we are trying to purchase a building in Lebanon that's at a school system there that they're going to be done with in June. And we need $130,000 that we want to purchase that building with. So we'll go and get it, move it to be our fourth building to allow us to start the next school building for
And
the
if
next
people
year.
want to contribute, donate,
Absolutely.
how do they do that?
There again, we are a public nonprofit, tax exempt, all right? So you can use that for your tax advantages also, but they can call the ranch there and speak with our director of
And
our
what's
schools
that
and
number?
or me. That's 731-925-2922, I think is the number there. Or my cell phone, 731-607-7777.
You can call this guy.
Please do.
And do you have a
so
website?
We have a website that is up, and it's very, very good. You can go to the website, get all the information you need.
And what is that website?
It's www.shelterandtree.org, and we are also on Facebook with Shelter and Tree in our school, and also the general stores on Facebook. So we have plenty of ways that you can reach us and get in touch with us. Yeah, so we need money for schools. The only thing that we owe for the property at the moment is the dirt. Every other building, every tractor, every 4x4 Ranger, every bush hog, all the horse, everything there is paid for. Every building outside the home that we live in, and we rent it from the ranch. We don't own it, and the dirt. And so our little church that we have there, every dollar, every dime that is taken up on Sunday mornings goes to pay for the dirt and makes the dirt payment. And then every dollar, every cent that anybody would ever give to the ranch goes specifically in to taking care of our children and our teachers, and the light bill and the electricity, the water, and the things that we need there to support what we do. Nothing goes to me, and everything goes to the ranch.
What a wonderful program. I mean, it's a thank you for
So it's a
stopping
miracle,
by.
yeah.
It is a
It's a
miracle, and you said that
miracle.
at the
It
beginning
is.
of the
It's a miracle,
program.
yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining us,
so very
and
much.
keep us updated
Will do.
because it sounds like the journey is just beginning.
Just
Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for joining us.
Yes, sir.
I wish we had more time, but that is all for this edition of Tennessee is Talking. Again, a big thank you to Dave Burrows and the team at Sheltering Tree Ranch for their dedication to our community and helping people. If you want to rewatch this program or share it with a friend or family member, it can be streamed anytime on the PBS app, along with all local Channel 11 programs. You can also watch it on our website, westtnpbs.org. And please keep the conversation going by following West Tennessee PBS on social media. Until next time, keep on talking, Tennessee.
The program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.